And so hearing that it had erupted, you didn't expect it to be such a tragedy. You just sort of, it was business
Another one.
as usual.
It's a volcanic place. It erupts.
So very shocking.
Yeah, described, I was just reading this morning, described as a prehistoric world, hissing, steaming, a surreal Martian landscape. You have to wear your hard hats and your gas masks when you go on there, so there is a level of precaution that you've got to take.
Happened to be tandem skydiving at the time and saw it erupt, and he joins us now live from Tauranga. Good morning, Tristan.
Good morning.
So obviously that was a sight you didn't expect to see. What could you see at first?
We quite often see a small plume coming from White Island on most of the days when we're skydiving from Tauranga. But yesterday, when we exited the aircraft, we kind of went, it's one of the sites we immediately look for, and you could just see the plume developing rather rapidly. And in the space of about 45 seconds, which is the length of time of freefall, it had grown to what I can best describe as like a huge cloud that had almost enveloped the island completely. It was very spectacular, and obviously something we've never seen before at the skydiving centre.
So were you free falling at the time? Did you have to take any immediate action when you saw the plume?
No, so we're approximately 90 kilometres from White Island, so we didn't have to take any action at all. It was just immediately noticeable. And usually once we're under the parachute, so around about 4,000 feet, you can't really make out the island anymore, but we could still see the plume was growing significantly. We weren't aware it had erupted at that time, but we were pretty confident it had.
I can imagine it would have been quite a spectacular sight, but was it immediately apparent that it was going to be a tragic event?
Unfortunately not. At the time, we were just in awe of what we'd witnessed during the skydive under the parachute, but obviously in the light of the news this morning and later last night, it's turned out to be far more tragic than, although spectacular, far tragic event has obviously has occurred. The talks here are obviously with everyone down in Whakatane. We have a wonderful staff member who was part of the rescue team last night, and we're just sending him all our love from Tauranga.
And it is a small community down there, Tauranga, Whakatane, the Mount Maunganui. They're all very close communities. Are you expecting the community to be in mourning?
For sure. Obviously, it's early this morning, so I haven't really communicated with a lot of people, but certainly there was a very somber mood last night in our team, and some of the other operators that work in and around Tauranga itself was definitely very, very somber.
Good morning. Yesterday at 2:11 p.m, Whakatane White Island erupted. There were two explosions, one after the other in quick succession. Initial reports indicated it was possible there were up to 100 individuals located on the ground or around the vicinity of the island at the time of the eruption. I can now confirm that, as was stated last night, there were in fact fewer than 50. In the immediate aftermath, a number of helicopters made a deliberate decision to fly to the island to rescue survivors. One Westpac helicopter landed on the island and were able to transport survivors back to the mainland. Two private helicopters were also able to land and rescue survivors, along with a Volcanic Air helicopter. I want to acknowledge the courageous decision made by first responders and those pilots who in the immediate rescue effort made an incredibly brave decision under extraordinarily dangerous circumstances in an attempt to get people out. As a result of their efforts, a number of people were rescued from the island. However, it is now clear that there were two groups on the island, those who were able to be evacuated and those who were close to the eruption. As police set out last night, the Police Eagle helicopter, rescue helicopter and NZDF aircraft have undertaken a number of aerial reconnaissance flights over the island since the eruption. No signs of life have been seen at any point. I do now want to hand over to Police Superintendent Bruce Bird to share further information and the knowledge that we have to hand this morning.
Thank you, Prime Minister. 47 people went on to the island yesterday. We can now confirm that 5 are deceased, 31 are currently in hospital, a further 8 are still missing, and 3 have been discharged from hospital overnight. Today our focus will be on working with the experts to determine the safety for us to return to the island to look to recover those people that are currently missing. We will be relying on advice coming from the Scientific and Technical Committee in Wellington, who are currently meeting at the moment, and hope to have further advice on when we may potentially return to the island. But I will reiterate, we will only go to the island when it is safe to do so for our people.
All right, thank you. I do want to acknowledge the enormous and extraordinary work that's gone on through the night to bring as much information as is possible to everyone this morning. At this stage, we can confirm that amongst those currently listed as missing or injured are New Zealanders who were part of the tour operation and tourists from Australia, the United States, the United Kingdom, China and Malaysia. That is to the best of our knowledge. To those who have lost or are missing family and friends, we share in your unfathomable grief at this moment in time and in your sorrow. Your loved ones stood alongside Kiwis who are hosting you here, and we grieve with you and we grieve with them. To our Australian family especially, we'll do everything we can to support you as you have supported us. I have been in regular communication with Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison through yesterday evening and will continue to do so over the course of the day as we're able to provide more information. For now, obviously, our duty is to return loved ones. And as Superintendent Bird has pointed out, obviously there is much more work there to be done. For now, I'd like to hand over to Mayor Judy Turner for local updates and information. Yeah.
Thank you, Prime Minister and Minister Hanari, for responding and coming to Whakatane so immediately when they could. That has meant a great deal to all of us to have him here. I'd like to acknowledge the first responders, and I'm talking about helicopter pilots, the skippers, those others involved in the rescue efforts from White Island Tours, our St John's Ambulance, Coast Guard, District Health Board medical staff, our police, and staff of the national and local emergency management teams, and of course our Whakatane District Council staff. Our hearts at this time go out to those who are injured, are missing and deceased, and their families and whānau. And I want to acknowledge both our valued international visitors and local people who have suffered loss in the last 24 hours. And our focus right now is on supporting these people and our broader community visitors. Our community is rallying to support in a number of ways. A welfare refuge has been set up by Te Runga o Ngāti Awa at Te Manuka Tuatahi Marae as a place to share and support one another at this time. Other councils around New Zealand have been incredibly supportive, and I want to thank them very much, including our local councils that are here today. And I also want to recognise there's many community groups in iwi who are currently offering support wherever it is needed. Our community recognises that the situation on Whakari White Island remains at level 3. There have been 3 eruptions and there is an unpredictable ongoing volcanic activity. And so we're going to continue to work with the police and the District Health Board to ensure the best care for our injured and for an ongoing improvement of accurate information that we can supply to you, the public.
Thank you, Judy, and I also acknowledge local MP Garrable and Tolly, who's been here overnight and with us too. We also have representation through Sarah from a civil defence perspective who are coordinating the work on the ground at this point. I'm now open for questions and we'll make sure that we point those to the most appropriate person.